Hello and welcome to the Kholiwe Cooks channel, everybody. Today, this is a tutorial for how to make your own whipped cream. This is how smooth and velvety it should turn out, fluffy and beautiful for your desserts. I will also show you at the end a bit of an assembly for making your own dessert using this whipped cream. Let's get into it. These are our ingredients: normal white sugar, we have some whipping cream, we have some cinnamon, some butter. I mostly use salted butter, a banana, the phyllo pastry, some strawberries. Okay, now for the whipped cream. I like to use icing sugar or powdered sugar for my whipped cream, and if you don't have icing sugar like I didn't, you can make your own by blending normal sugar. It takes you literally less than 30 seconds. So I'm using a spice blender. You can use a normal blender, you'll have the same outcome. So I'm just gonna blend this quickly and it becomes powdered in no time. So the reason I prefer powdered or icing sugar when making whipped cream is because I do not want a grainy consistency in my mouth. I want it to be velvety and smooth on your palate. And so I would definitely recommend going through the step or buying icing sugar if you are making your own whipped cream. As you can see, it's beautifully powdered. You could even sieve it if you needed it to be smoother. Now, to get into it, we are using whipping cream. You can use normal fresh cream. It'll have the same outcome really. This is just a little bit richer than normal fresh cream. And so you'll see even the color of my whipped cream won't be, white. It'll be cream colored. As you can see, I am using an electric hand mixer. However, you can use a manual whisk. It'll work as well. The only difference is that it's not going to be as fast as mine is. I didn't speed up anything here, so everything you see is in real time because I wanted you to see how quickly and how easy it is to make your own whipped cream. It's already thickening up, so I always start by whisking the whipping cream on its own without having sweetened it or anything. I only start adding the sugar when I realize it's become, a foamy consistency, and that's what I'm doing now. So I have my icing sugar next to me, and I prefer the sweetness of 2 heaped tablespoons that go into 1 cup of cream. So if you obviously using more and you want it to be the same kind of sweetness as mine, you would go, let's say you're getting 250 mils of cream, you would go with 4 heaped tablespoons of the sugar. It really isn't extremely sweet. It's very, I would say it's moderate. So that's what I'm doing. Look how quickly it has turned into this beautiful pattern. I'm not getting peaks yet. That's what I'm trying to check now. But it's a very, very soft peak that I'm getting. So you need to be very careful once you start getting peaks because it's literally so easy for it to turn from this beautiful whipped cream into a buttery mixture, and you don't want that. So do not overmix your cream, please. The consistency in your mouth will be horrible. So this is the last whisking because I have added 1/4 of a lemon juice in there. I find it makes it taste so much better to have that bit of zest coming in from the lemon. And that is it, finished product. You can end here and do your own thing that you normally do with your whipped cream that you buy. However, I just thought it would be fun for me to do a quick assembly of a dessert that I tried for myself. Obviously, if you think you would actually like this, you can go ahead and follow the steps that follow here as well. So I'm just using a freezer bag because I do not have a piping bag, but any kind of small bag, sandwich bag can work for this. I'm going to use that to pipe my cream and just store it in the fridge if I have any left. So that's what you have there. Now we go to the next steps. I am doing phyllo pastry roll-ups that will have cinnamon sugar. So I start off, look, when you work with phyllo pastry, you're always going to need butter. So don't, even if you're not making my recipes, just remember, if you're using phyllo pastry, you'll need melted butter, because phyllo pastry can be really dry when it gets into the oven if it hasn't been brushed with the butter. So butter is literally an essential ingredient if you're working with phyllo pastry. So I had a little phyllo pastry that was left over from a recipe I did recently, and so I thought, let me just do something quick, because it's not enough for it to have something that would be substantial. So I'm making these little cinnamon sugar roll-ups from it. As mentioned, we have our melted butter. This is about a tablespoon, but I ended up using 2 tablespoons of it here. So I'm just going to brush the phyllo pastry sheets. So this is one sheet that's down here. I'm just going to make sure that I'm fully covering every end, because whatever's not covered with butter, it does tend to dry when it gets to the oven. So this is really important. And then we create our cinnamon sugar. Now it makes sense why I had all those ingredients at the beginning. I'm sure you were thinking, what? This is all for whipped cream? So honestly, I never measure this. I play it by ear, but I think you would use about, if you have like a tablespoon of sugar, I would have 1 teaspoon. So 1 teaspoon of cinnamon goes to 1 tablespoon of sugar. I'm using normal sugar here. In hindsight, I could have used my icing sugar, but it really isn't a big deal. So I mix the two together and sprinkle onto the layers. So I have the first layer, and phyllo pastry is so, it's so thin, it's paper thin, and it breaks at times. So I'm actually using 2 layers now, because as you can see, I tried to tear it apart, but it was stuck together. But I'm not too worried about it. It's just 2 layers stuck together. If it was more, I would be. That's why I've just gone ahead and placed those 2 sheets that are stuck together as 1 sheet, because then I would have liked to have 3 actually, but no. So that also gets a sprinkling of the cinnamon sugar, and then I roll it up. So I'm making little cigars or logs of this by just rolling it up, and every couple of rolls I still go in with the butter, because it does seem like it's a bit, it's overkill on the butter, but I promise you it makes a difference. You want to end up with this nice succulent roll that has butter and sugar everywhere, and no spots that really aren't flavored, if you know what I mean. So I'm just gonna set that aside. But before I do that, I also roll it in the icing sugar, just for the outside, just for that extra bit of kick. So we're gonna do the next one quickly. We're doing the same thing really, but I'm just making sure that everything is aligned. I mean, how I roll this will obviously affect what it looks like at the end, but I'm really not worried about precise measurements. As you can see, I'm very much like, just taking it as it comes and rolling it up as well. So we end up with 2 cigars or logs. I think logs is more appropriate. So that's ready, and also getting a bit of a roll in the cinnamon sugar. That's perfect. Now I'm using the bottom of a springform cake pan. I thought it would work well for this because it's quite flat, and I am not making a lot of these, as you can see. So I always brush a little bit of butter on my baking trays, and always use parchment paper. I just find it makes my life so much easier. I hardly get anything that gets stuck to my pans because this is literally the protector. So I first do the butter at the bottom, and then I put the parchment paper because that's what allows the parchment paper to stick to the bottom of the pan, which is great. So I thought I was gonna do these like this, but I actually reconsidered because they're quite big, and I was worried about the middle bits of the phyllo cooking. So I've decided to cut it into like 3 pieces per log type of thing. That's me measuring. So I'm just gonna cut those quickly, and we will have 6 pieces of these in the oven. As mentioned, this was just done purely to demonstrate that how whipped cream can feature in a dessert. This wasn't necessarily the aim of this video to show you this, but I think it would be, it's something that's really quick and very delicious, so I think it's good that I showed it. Now that went in the oven for, I would say, 12 minutes. I even turned it, as you can see, because I wanted the middle bits to actually get some heat as well. And those are my little roll-ups, and just dusting them with a bit of my icing sugar. And you could end there, but we are extra and we're gonna take it a little step further. So my roll-ups are quite crispy, and the reason for this is the rest of the dessert is quite soft. This is a texture element for me. It's crispy. You can do them for less time so that they are less crispy. And here we go with our newly made whipped cream, and I'm just assembling, very freeform. I'm just like, as you can see, I'm just figuring it out as I go. My strawberry slices, and I will follow these up with the banana slices. The strawberry is quite tangy, so it breaks the sweetness from everything else, and obviously the color element, it's the one color that actually pops off of the plate, so I'm very glad I chose to use those little slices of the strawberry. So I top it up with a bit more whipped cream. This tutorial is about whipped cream after all, and we just dust it with our icing sugar. And as you can see, I am using a sieve just to do that quickly. I just thought it would be appropriate for me to use my icing sugar to garnish, because we have just made it on this video as well. Now, always garnish your desserts with mint leaves, not bay or anything like that. I appreciate every single one of you for watching. As always, please subscribe and turn on notifications for my channel. Thank you.